Hi, everyone. I am Andra Annette, and welcome to this week's session of the Soul's Code. And today I have a very special guest with me, Kadin McElwain. So he's a writer, a college student. He's also autistic, and he's an activist because he's tired of people putting him in a box. He wants people to know that he's not limited and to stop treating him as he is. So I want to have an amazing discussion with this young man because I'm very proud of him for what he's out there trying to do in the world. So please help me welcome Kaden. Hi, honey. How are you?
Well, thanks for having me.
So, what got you started on this activist? You said that I was reading some of the things that we had spoke about, and you said that people have always tried to limit you by telling you you couldn't accomplish things and that you wouldn't amount to anything. And I'm sure that didn't make you feel good.
E- it then back then I was a teenager back then. But yeah, I've had several people who tried to put me in a box and say I wasn't capable of X, Y, and Z thing. My middle school, believe it or not, they actually cut off my services completely in middle school because they had their doubts and they couldn't tell I was on spectrum because unfortunately, and as typical with most schools, the stereotype that people have about autism in that sense is someone who's nonverbal, can't walk, can't talk, and they have to be put in a home for the rest of their lives and probably aren't capable of going to normal, regular classes. But in middle school, I was doing fine academically, doing fine behaviorally, but the school didn't think I had autism or they couldn't tell. And my parents asked why they cut off my services, and the school was like, "Sorry, we can't tell he's autistic. Put him in a robotics camp. That'll be better fit for him." And they weren't going to tolerate that. So they wrote to every single autism organization in the state the middle school was in, which was Tennessee, and the state senator to try to get that situated. Because they knew that I was capable of so much more than what the school was saying and what all these people were saying. And I would say what helped me got through it, that adversity, was my parents. And the advocacy work began with a class project I did for my freshman year of college in 2022. The assignment was to set up a GoFundMe or think of a way to help the community and act upon it. So my group and I set up a GoFundMe for Autism Society of America, and we raised over $1,000 for it, won a contest with it, and had the opportunity to do all this cool stuff. But unfortunately, and this is typical with Gen Z, or the participation trophy generation, as I like to call them, my group only wanted to do the assignment to get the grade. They weren't fully into it. I actually did a majority of the work to get that project done. I set up the GoFundMe. I messaged to several celebrities or underground celebrities on Instagram and Facebook and email. And I was doing pretty much all the work for that. And I also found that autism isn't on the news as much as it should be. It's not at the attention of the White House or Congress or the House of Representatives. And I really don't get it. I really don't. So that last project led to all of this cool stuff I'm doing now, giving out speeches, planning fundraisers, appearing on platforms like this to kind of tell my story and spread this message across. And eventually, I'm hoping to do a TED Talk because all the big activists have done TED Talks. So there's that. And eventually, I think I want to hold office.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you have big dreams, and I'm sure that you're capable of achieving all of them because you have a real go-getter attitude, and you don't, nobody gets to tell you what you can create in your world but you. So I'm glad you didn't listen to any of those people because they're fools. I've had a lot of people tell me I wasn't capable of doing things, and I proved them all wrong too. So I'm very proud of you for what you're doing. You spoke about the White House and places like that not being as involved. What kind of involvement would you like to see? More research, more fundraisers? What exactly would you like to see have? What would be ideal for you?
Everything. More research, more events that the White House has for Autism Awareness Month, because that's barely even recognized now, and most certainly a lot of bills passed for autism awareness and that protect people with autism and get them what they need. One bill in particular I'm hoping for is where if you assault someone with autism or commit a crime against someone with autism, then the sentence that you would get doubles because some of these people with autism, they don't know. They're commonly taken advantage of by people who steal and murder and assault people. And another big one I'm hoping for is mandating a statewide, federal-wide, countrywide autism training program in all schools and workplaces for students, parents, and faculty before they're even allowed to enroll in whatever institution they want to, especially parents, because it's my belief that everything starts at home. By that, I mean, if the parents are mean to certain groups or align themselves with certain conservative political groups, which I won't say as to not get canceled, or they worship Alex Jones and Andrew Tate and all those people, then the child's going to go out and be negative, then worship those people as well and take their anger and frustration out on those minorities.
Okay. So let's talk about you and what you're doing now with your life. Tell me a little bit about what you're studying in college and why.
Absolutely. I'm studying to be a PR major. This is my second year right now, and the last week of it, to be exact, of official classes before finals. So I have really good grades right now, all A's and one B, but I still passed the technical writing class, which is where the B was in, and I submitted the final project today. So that class is good. Ideally, I would have liked to pass it with an A, but what are you gonna do? Ooh. And I'm choosing public relations because there's a lot of doubt about people with autism being able to do that particular field because of the social interactions. And I'm hoping to break that stigma. Just the other day, I wrote an article about 3 tips for people with autism to be successful in that field. And I submitted it to the Public Relations Society of America, and hopefully it gets published because they're really big on PR. So I think that could take this movement to a whole other level.
I think so too. I think that you have a lot of good goals. So you're doing PR and you said you like to hold office. Did you have a specific office in mind? We could certainly use a better president.
Yeah, that's exactly the one, actually. Once I'm 50, I've had my fun. I have a bunch of money for my endeavors, and I've achieved what I wanted to achieve. I'm hoping to throw my hat in the ring for office because I think America needs the first autistic president, or, well, neurodivergent is the politically correct term these days. The first neurodivergent president in the White House. It would probably teach everyone to unite and realize that we're all the same. We just might need a little bit of help.
Yeah, that's very true. We are the same in a lot of ways. So you do writing. Is it mostly because you're taking writing in school too? Is that to help you with the PR work, to do your own copywriting? What's your interest in writing?
I'm mainly a sports writer. I started when I was 14 years old for a site called the Sports Column, and from there, I have over 400 articles under my belt for that site alone. And I'm actually in the running for a Billie Jean King Award in sports coverage right now. They haven't announced the finals yet, but I'm being considered as one of the candidates for that. And I'm sure that's a very big award. But I've never thought that writing could help with PR. That's a course requirement for the major. Of course, you got to know how to write press releases. But I've never thought of it that way. I truly haven't.
I mean, you can use writing for so many different things. So, I mean, even in like I work online as a health consultant, but I have to know how to verbalize things by writing them, right? So I have to write things that are going to attract people and let them know that I actually understand what they're going through. And you have to choose your words smartly. So writing can help you in any career. You know, copywriting is a really big thing. So people get paid a lot of money to copyright. So you're a man of many interests because you're a writer, you're into sports, you're now in college, you want to be president maybe someday. So what else is Caden? What other goals are you set out for?
Well, this year I would like to get a children's book about autism published. You think that alone could bring it to a whole new audience? I truly think so. Oh, I'm trying to find an illustrator and a publishing company that would be willing to publish that book, preferably for free. But I think if there was a book like that, it could probably sell over 1 million copies and be a bestseller. 1 in 4 people are diagnosed as being on the spectrum in the United States alone, I believe.
That's a very high number. Do you think that sometimes people are misdiagnosed though? Because you said that in your school they said you weren't, they didn't believe that you were autistic. So do you think that there's situations where some people are classified and labeled that don't shouldn't be? And
Mm,
what do you think about someone labeling you or trying to put you in a class with everybody else because of a diagnosis? How does that impact you?
mm. Well, I've been trying not to care as much, but I hold a grudge against a lot of people for trying to put me in a box, and I've cut them off, and I don't give them the time of day anymore. Or, but on the misdiagnosis thing, I think autism is still very much complicated. I think there are some misdiagnoses about certain conditions people have before they realize they have autism, but I think technology has become so advanced that the misdiagnoses are becoming lower and lower by the day. Hey, I consider myself to be extremely lucky because I had that early screening when I was 2 years old when I was diagnosed. And I've had an amazing support system.
You're very lucky. So how important do you feel that that support system is to really help you? Because you said that the most important support system that you had was your parents. So how does that make you feel and to have that support? And how important do you think it is to other young men and women like yourself?
I'm extremely grateful for my parents for still being in my corner despite all the crap I've done over the years, because they've continued to help me, sometimes at the cost of their own sanity. But the, I think it's very important to have a strong support system for not just people with autism, but for all things. Autism, especially. As I said, I consider myself lucky. I've had an amazing support system, early screening, occupational therapy, physical therapy, ABA therapy. I've done a feeder research group for autism at Vanderbilt University when I was 11. And look where I'm at now. In college, appearing on platforms like this, advocating for a cause I'm passionate about, and doing all this cool stuff. I could have very much been pushed to the side and thrown to the wolves, like my cousin, who's also on the spectrum, but a bit lower end, was. His aunt, my aunt, his mother treated him like garbage. They argued constantly. She kicked him out of the house and said, "Good luck. Go live out your life or whatever." And now he has an animal cruelty charge, of name change of 420 Yake, so he can kiss jobs and housing payments and all of that goodbye permanently. A kid, he got taken away due to a really nasty wife, and he's now on the run from police in Alabama from the last time I heard of him.
Oh, wow. That doesn't sound good at all. So, are there support groups for people that you've gone to? Because I think that that could be key too. There should be more support groups where young men and women who have autism can get together and discuss what they're going through and help each other. Right? So,
Right,
because you have, so you might even want to start one of those because you have excelled, but everybody doesn't because everybody doesn't have that support system, like you just mentioned. So having a place where they can go and feel valued and supported by people, like-minded people would really benefit them, you
I've
know?
thought of starting my own organization for people with autism on campus. Academics is just extremely tough for me because I got all these good grades, and this semester alone, I was bombarded with assignment after assignment and homework after homework, essay after essay. But eventually, I would very much like to start my own foundation for people with autism. I truly would.
I think that's a good idea. I'd be interested to look that up. I think when we get offline, I'm going to look that up and see if there's any additional supports and services out there. Um, I've worked with autistic children. I've worked with developmentally delayed, I guess you can say. Um, I've worked with children they said had ADHD, but didn't really. That was a very big diagnosis after COVID, and the kids just needed love and support. They weren't getting that, and they were on a lot of medications that were making them worse. So and as a healthcare provider, we have to be able to advocate for them to the doctors to make sure that they're not being mismanaged because sometimes people are being mismanaged. So you said that people put you in a box and you had a lot of people tell you that you'd never amount to anything. Were those close personal friends, people in your school, people in your life as you've gotten older? And how did that
The
make you
school,
feel?
the school absolutely was a huge one. The second they cut my IEP services, that kind of thing is actually illegal. By the way, I asked someone about that one, so I might actually file an Americans with Disabilities Act against the school eventually. I don't know if I can now. That was in 2016. It's 2024 now, but that's something I'm thinking about. My step grandparents said I ought to be put in a home when I was younger. They told my stepmom that to her face, and she told them off right then and there. And there was a rumor spreading around my cross country team in high school that I was actually faking my autism. So that particular made me mad. That last one, I get mad thinking about it, and rightfully so, because you can't fake autism. How would you go about faking it? It's a complicated thing. People with autism can look exactly like how you do, or how the guy at McDonald's does, or something.
So where are you gonna go from here? What's your next fight? Who are you gonna fight next? Because I think you're you're a fighter and you're out there and you're spreading the word. And I think it's very heroic of you what you're doing. That you're taking all this on and that you see an injustice and that you're trying to correct that. And that's how change happens in the world. So don't let anybody stop you or tell you that you can't achieve what you want to achieve because I have a lot of faith that they better look out because here you come. So if you could tell our audience today, we're going to close out, but if you can tell the audience what you, because of the way you were treated, if I mean, a lot of people are just ignorance, and I'm sorry for that for them. I'm sorry that you were treated that way because that's just unnecessary behavior. But if you could tell the world our audience today one thing that you'd like to leave them with, what would that be, Kate?
Keep spreading positivity and don't let anyone tell you you're not capable of anything. If they do, don't give them the time of day because they're the ones who are going to be missing out on an awesome person or employer or boyfriend or girlfriend or student or master's student eventually if you go there or business partner. You are capable of so much more than what society expects from you.
That was very beautiful. If people wanted to reach out to you and help you in this fight, how would they go about contacting you?
You can follow me on Facebook at Kadin Ronald, KADINRONALD. Follow me on Instagram at 73 posts here, and you can find some of my writings by typing my name, Kadin McElwain, KADINMCELWAIN.
Well, I want to thank you so much for being an amazing guest. So hang on a minute. I'm going to say goodbye to the audience, okay? So,
Okay?
guys, I want to thank you for tuning in. I thought his story was amazing, and I thought more people should hear it. I think there's a lot of people out there that are limiting others and setting limiting beliefs for themselves. And I think that if you want to achieve something in life, you absolutely have to believe you can before you will. So, I want you to know that anything is possible, and I hope you have a great evening. Take care.